Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Talking with Thomas Dolby. Thomas, you mind if I say on the air what Michael Jackson shared with you, how he wanted to die real quick? I thought it was interesting. He said...
that he wanted to die like Elvis.
He wanted to die like Elvis in a sordid way because that's fitting of a legend.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's unreal.
Elvis died on the John, I mean, you know, so,
yeah.
Which is sordid. But, yeah, I think he took it to another level. Having an operating room in your house, that's legendary. I don't think anyone's going to top that in the Pro Bowl, and I'm sure Dr. Conrad is happy. That he chose him for that.
Yeah.
Thinking
that way at that stage in his life. I mean, he was what, 20?
Same age as me.
Years old.
He seemed like a morbid guy on a lot of creative people are, I think. But so tell us about this invisible lighthouse. What is that exactly?
So where I live in England on the coast, there is a lighthouse that I've seen flashing since I was a little kid.
Right.
And they're closing it down. They just closed it down this year. And it turns out that all around the world, lighthouses are being closed down and left to fall into the sea or get vandalized or whatever. Because, I mean, this has probably got better navigation on it, you know, than the lighthouses.
Absolutely, it's great. I just said I just took a trip in Maine and we went on a lighthouse tour in a boat. It's on, A lot of them are, some are still operational, but a lot of them are in disrepair. And yeah.
So there was nothing I could do to stop them closing my lighthouse, but I made a film about it.
Oh, cool.
And I decided to turn it into a live show where I play the score and do the narration and even do live sound effects in front of the picture.
Wow.
And we're taking it around North America for the next couple of months in order to highlight the fact that there's actually a doomsday list of American lighthouses.
Oh, no
46
kidding.
of them, which are all endangered at this point because they're decaying, because they're not being kept up, because they're being vandalized. And I think it's a shame because I think it's a great part of America's heritage.
It is, without question. I mean, aesthetically, that's for sure. But you say the navigation part, but what about just the physical, actual function of a lighthouse? I mean, they still have some sort of need, I would think, in maritime, you know, for maritime people, and just to see the light. I mean, that you can't see from a cell phone. I mean, don't you think they're needed for that alone? I mean,
you know, I think most ships these days have very sophisticated satellite
and they don't even need to see it.
They don't really need to see it. I mean, you know, when it's foggy, you can't see it. They have to use their instruments. So
I was thinking in an emergency, maybe the last ditch. You always want to think that last ditch thing that a computer can't change is, look, I got to actually see something. But I guess you're right, you know.
But I mean, it turns out that everybody's got a soft spot for a lighthouse. You know, people or a landmark
they're great.
building.
Yeah, they're really cool.
They're even in cities that are on rivers, you know, inland, that are on the Mississippi or whatever, on the Hudson.
You know what they are? They're romantic. You know, it's like, and that's what this country loves, romantic stuff. Like
and they're comforting.
Throwbacks.
Yeah.
Do you think if the Titanic had an iPhone on it, they probably wouldn't have hit that iceberg? Probably not, unless they were tweeting.
Okay, there's a sequel for you.
Yeah. Unless Commander Lightoller was tweeting something.
No. Part of what you're doing with your tour, though, you've written what, like 3 new albums that are combined into and like integrated into the music that you're playing?
Yeah, there's a sort of suite of music that goes with it, and it's all the music that I wrote when I moved back from the USA to the UK, back to the place where I grew up.
Right.
With my kids, you know, so that they could see, you know, where I grew up and so on. And it was sort of an icon of my childhood was this lighthouse, which I've known all my life, which I found out they were closing down. And so I wrote an album and I made a film, and I taught myself pretty much to work a camera using the new kit, which is fantastic.
No kidding.
DSLR cameras and things like that. And I taught myself to edit. I had some of that skill from doing my videos back in the day, you know, because I used to write and direct some of those.
You hear a lot of that now, like this couple of, like that documentary, Searching for Sugar Man, that just won the Oscar. The kid did the whole thing on a phone, edited himself on an iPhone and stuff like that.
Well, you know, this is the modern equivalent of what happened with music. When I started out, which was that you went from needing a record label, needing a big budget and a recording studio, to being able to do it on a computer, you know, in your back room and distribute it over the internet. And the same thing is happening now with film.
I think it's really cool that this lighthouse had such meaning to you. Like we just said before, it had sort of a romantic meaning to you, that you were decided to do this whole project.
But here's the thing. It's on an island that used to be owned by the Ministry of Defense. And there's unexploded bombs out there.
Oh, my God.
So they wouldn't let me go out there.
So
I mounted a kind of clandestine commando raid.
There you go.
In my speedboat. And I went out at dawn.
Do you have footage of that?
With the spy camera. Yeah. That's the climax of the film.
Oh,
so
wow,
I had
great.
the spy cameras rolling. I had a quadricopter camera that you can fly with an iPhone, follow me around on this island, and I'm still here. I didn't get blown up, you know.
I'm glad.
But that's the climax of the film.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I'll love to check it out. We'll take a break. We'll let you get ready to perform, and we really appreciate it. And again, it's called Invisible Lighthouse. Do you know when it's opening here, when we can see it here?
In New York City, it's going to be at the Gramercy Theatre on November something or other. I'll have to look that up.
Okay, so coming up.
Okay.
Coming up at the Gramercy Theatre.
We'll flash a card later on.
And it's probably invisiblelighthouse.com or something like that.
Actually, thomasdolby.com, has got everything on it. But we're going all around the country. It's like 22 old cinemas and film festivals and all sorts of interesting venues.
Awesome. All right, thomasdolby.com for info. When we take a break, we'll get ready. John and I will do another quick segment, and we'll hear from some music from Thomas Dolby. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate you chatting with us.
Thank you.
And we're back after this.
The Artie Lange Show, weeknights on Audience, only on DirecTV.